name is Bahman Yazdanfar, and this is Voters Echo, a weekly show to bring different perspective, different opinion, different ideas, different dogmas, for that matter, from different individuals, different Canadians. Either they are candidates or just voters or common citizen who bring to you some sort of the ideas for you to have better understanding of what's going on and how you can cast your votes in the election years such as this one that we have in October 19th. A couple of the disclaimer: I am under payroll of nobody, no individual, no entity, no union, no political party. I don't belong to any federally registered political party, nor I am a sympathizer of any parties. I don't endorse any candidates or affiliated parties. It is your job as a citizen to watch, to listen to them, and make your choice on your own. This program is produced by me alone. I do not have any financial benefit or profit from it. As of now, if any one of you wants to help me either in the form of the human resources or financial, you can go to my website at www.votersecho.com. There is a button that you can click on it and drop me a line or two. I will be more than happy to have a chat with you and find out if you can help me at any capacity you can. The airtime for the show, although, has been donated to me by Dr. James Sears as part of his credit to thatchannels.com, and I appreciate him to provide me an opportunity so I can continue my educational program. By the way, Dr. James Sears is running as an independent candidate in the riding of Beaches East York, and I wish him good luck in his campaign and all of the best for him. Now, without further ado, let's introduce our guests today. We start with Jude. Can you just introduce yourself, full name, and a little bit about yourself and your party affiliation, and just 3-4 minutes of the mini biography.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Jude Coutinho, and I'm a member of the Christian Heritage Party, and I'm running in Scarborough Agent Court. And the reason why I joined the party is mainly because I believe personally as well that the right to life is the foundation of all other rights. It is the right without which no other rights have any meaning. Now, I've seen in the recent years in Canada as well that there has been an affirmation to abortion, and now recently even assisted suicide, euthanasia, and a devaluation of human life.
Mm-hmm.
And it saddens me, it really breaks my heart to think that abortion kills 110,000 Canadian babies every year. And the irony to that is we have many childless couples waiting even 7 years to adopt a child. Again, in February of 2015, the Supreme Court of Canada struck down the ban on assisted suicide and gave Parliament 1 year to come up with a law that would be constitutional. It is up to the Parliament that we now elect to come up with such a law. The Christian Heritage Party government would invoke the notwithstanding clause. Euthanasia is another form of legalized murder. And so it is all these laws which are coming up which prompted me today to stand up for life and to join the elections.
Welcome and thank you. And we will, and since you brought up an issue that is very, very controversial, not in Canada alone, just in everywhere in the world, and it has been one of the items that politicians don't want to touch on it. We will further expand on it. Leslie, good to see you. It has been a couple of years. We used to run as a colleague, partner, opponents. I don't know.
Yeah, it's odd, Bob. And we were opponents technically, but really, I feel like you're more my colleagues or a friend. He's a real Canadian.
Your full name for the audience?
My name is Leslie Bory. I'm running as an independent in Haldeman, Norfolk. I'm almost a self-appointed leader of a party. Basically, only a few people are members of our party now after the Elections Act.
Which party is that?
The Maple Party of Canada.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you very much, Bauman. And the people of Canada need a choice, and that's what they all say, but the choice that we give Canadians is going to give them real relief if we ever build a party and come back en masse and present our platform across the entire nation in the next federal election in 4 years. Our platform would put Canadians in charge of our country. We'd be in charge of it politically and economically. Right now, we have foreigners controlling our nation, as well as some corporate people, and we live in a time of corporate rule. Most people don't know that the GST was okayed by the Queen of England, and she's not even a Canadian citizen. And that cost a lot of Canadians, actually all the Canadians that lived in this time, that all their efforts were diverted into basically a banker's pocket because the Queen of England decided to give Mr. Mulroney the 6 seats he needed in the Senate. And these seats didn't exist, but she created them out of thin air. And she has more power than anyone else in Canada, and that's not right. We should definitely vote to get rid of the Queen, and we'll make it easy. Don't worry about the Supreme Court decision. There are only 9 people, and they're trying to uphold a constitution that was basically ratified by 9 people because it didn't even meet its own conditions for ratification, its own terms. They wanted 10 provinces to vote unanimously on this, and obviously Quebec didn't sign back in the day. And now 9 Supreme Court justices passed the Constitution. They also told us all that they're the ones that can decide on how Canada should be run and not you, 30 million people, 40 million people. And I'd like to see what happens when we win the election and they decide to oppose 40 million people. This should be pretty good. And in a nutshell, Canadians, until we get control of our nation back economically as well, where the banks no longer print money for Canadians, they manufacture money. When a nation goes into deficit, that money comes out of somewhere. It doesn't just come out of someone's pile. There's no pile of money. It gets created as it's needed, when it's needed. And private banks should not manufacture Canadian dollars, and we shouldn't be indebted to these banks. And the terms that they give us for this creation of money always ensures that there's more debt than money in the system, and that's a trap. And it should be illegal. And we're going to revisit this, and we'll probably throw some bankers in prison for this, if you vote for it, as well as you'll never have to pay interest on loans again. Canadian people have been taken advantage of by these bankers, and we're going to shut this down if the Canadian people wish this to happen. Without the Canadian people, nothing happens. And we're just here to tell you that don't worry about all this web of laws that's been created to make you think that everything's impossible. It's quite simple. I'll ask you a simple question. You give me a simple answer on election day, and then we go ahead and simplify our economy. We make a standalone economy. That way, if we want to impose sanctions on other nations, and they try to harm us economically, it won't matter because we'll have a strong economy and we'll be able to stand alone. And we'll be able to do what's right in this world, not like what we're doing now. Thanks very much for that introduction, Bauman.
So we have to close the program to get finished?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No. There's a lot of information, and I'm not sure if our audience can, or if some of them can absorb all of that information. Now, let's, because the purpose of this program mainly is the candidate, the election, electoral process mainly. Let me ask a couple of the very quick questions so people know who you are, where you stand. Have you ever ran before?
Well, I ran last October for the city council.
Oh, for the city council.
For the city council. So
How successful was that?
It was my first time getting my feet wet. The response I got from the people in my neighborhood was running in a local candidacy was they were feeling that there was a need for a voice. They are not being represented properly with life issues, and there was a need of a candidate to represent those issues because we were counting a lot on the Conservative government to promote the life issues, but unfortunately that did not happen.
But did you get any votes?
Yes.
How many?
Yes, I don't have an exact number with me, but there was a lot of response for the candidacy.
And I know one time you ran before, but how many other time have you ran?
I've run 4 times up to now. This is my 5th election right now.
It's 5th, all of the federal.
Federal, yeah.
All of the federal. And Maple Party is not registered party.
Absolutely not, no.
Okay, so it's not registered party. So the people know that where you stand. Now, let's start, because when you start, I don't want to dwell on the issues mainly, because the issues really is kind of the things that I personally believe that like a smoke and mirror. It's
Yes.
like a magician thing.
Yes.
The leaders of the party come and drop all sort of the numbers to you. It is deficit, it is debt,
Yes.
it is C51, it is that. These are good things for mainstream media.
Yes.
This show is local, and we focus on the things that is in core of the matter.
Yes.
Before I get to the issue of the abortion and euthanasia, I want to ask you where you stand on those very briefly.
On the abortion issue?
Yeah, on abortion. You personally.
Well, basically,
Yes or no? That's all I am asking.
well, I'm going to try and reduce it economically, but we're not.
No. I'm just generally speaking. As I said, I don't want to open the discussion on the nitty-gritty of just abortion. I just want to know different point of views. If there is abortion, if, for instance, if you put in the position that you have to make a choice, do you go for abortion or do you no?
Depends if I can afford to raise the child or not.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down
Okay.
to. Most people don't want to kill babies. I mean, it's not a normal thing
So
to
it
do.
is economical issue then.
Absolutely,
Okay.
it is. I believe it is.
And I assume that you don't like abortion.
Well, it's not that I don't like. I strongly stand against abortion because I don't think it's an economical issue. For one reason, is that abortion is like portrayed to the people who are pregnant, like teenagers or some adults who are, like that is the only way out, or in the media.
Well, I studied 7 years in medical school, so I must know that.
Yes, and I have heard the testimony of.
By the way, it's not the only way. If we have
Yes.
C-section, then we have different way.
Yes. So the people who have come forward and have shared their testimonies about when they were having an unexpected pregnancy and they were not ready to be economically stable to have a child, were not getting that support from our society or give them an option to say that, well, adoption is another option. If you're not ready right now, let me see how I can help.
But you mentioned it takes 7 years to wait for adoption. How do you confront that?
Because we have to make it easier. Because
I understand that. We have to do a lot of things easier in
Yes.
this country.
Yes.
But what I'm asking is, what is the how?
We have to make laws easier for couples who are childless, who want longing to have a child, who want to adopt a child, to make it easier to make sure that they can adopt a child in a more fast and a timely manner. Just as how we have processes in place for immigrants to come to the country, we say, well, let's try to cut down the time, the red tape, the laws, the legislation, to make it easier for the whole process. We have to look at the process itself and say, if there's a couple here who wants a child, why do I have to keep them on the wait list for 7 years? We can cut the process and have a child available for them in lesser process time.
All dandy, a lot of laws that we can do that.
Yes.
Let me address this issue from different angle. First, again, yes or no? Do you believe in the Canadian Charter of Rights?
No, it's not right. It's phony.
Okay. Do you believe in Canadian
Charter
Charter?
rights, yes.
Okay. Do you believe in freedom of speech for an individual?
Absolutely. Number one, freedom.
Do you believe-
Freedom of speech, absolutely.
So then my question comes back to this, and then I am going to continue with you. Do you have the freedom of choice? Any choice. I'm not talking about the abortion.
What do you mean?
Freedom of choice.
As long as it doesn't hurt anybody, sure.
Yes,
Mama.
so that's
fine.
responsible.
Yes, sir.
We thought it. You.
Freedom of choice is all we should be.
I am not talking about
Yes.
abortion. I'm talking about the absolute freedom of choice as an individual human being.
With good reason. I would say the choice.
Well, the
with
good reason is subjective.
Subjective, yes.
You cannot tell me your reason is better than mine. I cannot say my reason is better than yours. But
Yes.
what I'm saying, as a human being who were born,
Yes.
as you put it eloquently, from one way they come out,
Yes.
and then as a human being, as a free spirit, do they
Yes.
have the choice to make in their life?
I just want to go through that question a little bit because it's not a straight yes or no
No,
answer.
I want
because
the reason I'm asking, I am not talking about abortion. I am talking about the choice.
The choice, any choice that I make. For example, today if I go out in the parking lot and I say it's my choice, I can do what I want. I'll just take the best car and go home.
No,
kind of
that is your
That is
invading. No, you're
invasion.
invading in someone else's
Yes,
property. I am
yes.
talking about personal choices.
If
I want to sleep right now.
yes,
Do I have that choice or not?
Yes, absolutely. If you need to
I
rest
want
right
to
now.
eat a steak or I want to eat a salad. Do I
That's
have that
fine.
choice?
Those are fine.
Okay.
Those are in good
Now,
reason, yes.
before I get to you and get your stuff,
Yes.
but let's finish with that.
Yes.
When it comes to the abortion,
Yes,
whether or not you like it or not, if you
Yes.
go to the euthanasia the same way,
yes,
you have a choice for you and your people that you love.
yes.
But if another person comes to you and say that is my choice, how do you balance the freedom of the choice and your belief system on someone else's, not yours?
It is not, it's not my life. So when I look at abortion, abortion is not taking away, making a decision for myself. I'm making a conscious decision for somebody else who doesn't have a voice. Now, recently, it was broadcast in the media that Planned Parenthood was selling body parts all over the world for money, for dollars. They were taking out body parts from the baby that was being aborted and selling it for money, like the eyes.
It is a big
it
business
is a big-
for the
it is a
placenta,
media.
a small part of the
So-
body for the purpose of
So
regeneration.
if Planned Parenthood can take the body parts of a living organism, and Canada says that is not a life, there is a contradiction. That is a human life. We have to recognize that is a human life that needs to be protected.
I understand that.
Yes.
My question is, if let's say, assume I am a woman.
Yes.
No, not very pretty
Yes.
one, but and then yeah.
Yes.
And let's say I am pregnant
Yes.
and I want to have an abortion.
Okay.
And your claim is, or
Yes.
the claim of the people who are in that side of the fence,
Yes.
is, by the way, I am
Yes.
not saying I am for or against. I'm
Yes.
just
Of course,
discussing
of
that.
course.
I'm becoming a devil advocate.
Okay.
So if you claim that my baby
Yeah.
does not have a voice,
Yes.
what gives you, a stranger, the right to become his voice?
It doesn't give us a right, but what I'm trying to indicate over here is that the push for abortion is like the only option when a person
Push for abortion?
Yes.
Why do you think there is a push for abortion?
Because if you look at the program, for example, if you go to Silent No More, if you just click on the website, go to Silent No More, you will hear the testimonies of many of the women who were hurting when they had an abortion. So they were told the same thing, that you're not going to be economically able to look after this child.
Well,
These are the-
one could argue the short time pain for long time comfort.
That is the lie that is the lie that they were told. Short
No,
time pain for
I'm
long time.
I'm not talking about
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Day is always elusive.
Yes,
Day.
yes.
I'm talking about the mother.
The mother
I am the
himself.
mother. I am the mother.
The mother himself. When you look at this program, you see.
I don't have a job. I don't have
Yes.
nothing. Now I get a baby. Now I have to pay $30 a box of a diaper,
Yes.
and then I have to drop all of my moral system to beg for the money, or to compromise my principle, to bend over for a pardon my language, jackass supervisor to tell me what to do in my work.
Well, that is
So
what.
how do you define that?
That
Is
is-
there any institution to get a hold of that and help me?
That is what we are looking at. So we are looking at finding a solution. So if we sit on the table and say, well, this is the issue, this is the mother, this is the distress, and we say that what is the solution, what are the options that we can give the mother, what can Canada help in this role? And so the Christian Heritage Party has recommended that we will institute a $1,000 monthly family care allowance to allow families to care for children or the elderly in the home. So if it's a child or the elderly, they would get an allowance. So this way, we are saying that if you even look at the Canadian demographics right now, we will see that Canada, like the rest of the Western world, faces serious demographic declines caused by a lack of respect for the sanctity of human life, abortion, and tax policies that weigh against family formation.
But
And
what about Canada does that for other things too? Canada does that against of the foreign medical graduates too. The Canada does that for the single men and women too. There is no tax it's not just that issue. But put it that aside, we will come back.
Yes.
By the way, I am not arguing that
Yes.
you are wrong.
No,
Don't
no.
get me wrong.
Yes.
I'm just saying if there
Yes.
is a fence.
Yes.
And if you are, let's say you focus on the for a issue of the, let's say, conservatives versus liberals,
Yes.
and liberals goes for the pro-choice,
Yes.
and the conservatives goes for the pro-life, then these arguments always there from both sides.
No, unfortunately.
But I'm getting back to you. Just let me.
Yes.
This guy get bored.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Sorry
Right.
about that.
you percolate your thoughts.
Yes, yes.
We come back at the now.
Okay.
You said the mouthful at the beginning in your introduction that there is a bankers, there is this, there is that, there's Queen of the England, there is a GST, and all of that was a lot of information to digest. Let me ask you this way. Let's assume.
Trade agreements too, Bauman.
Huh?
Trade agreements too. I always forget.
Oh,
There's so many things, right?
so many things.
Yeah,
Eh,
1, 2, and 3 right there.
But let's assume, just for play with me, let's assume 19th of the October.
Yes, sir.
You get elected. And not assume, I am hoping, and I told every one of my guests, and they said, you're endorsing me? I said, no. Anyone who gets elected in my show, it is a boost for me.
There you go.
Okay, it is a self-serving
That's
prophecy.
right. We'll give you credit, Bauman.
Now, if you get elected, or when you get elected on 19th,
Right.
and let's say you go to Ottawa by the end of the, what can you do as an independent?
As an independent, not a whole lot, Bauman. But I tell you what the people can do. They can not choose one of the corporate parties and, sanction their actions. They can pick a Canadian to go to Ottawa and act Canadian.
Canadian? What Canadian?
Well, all the other parties are corporate. You can people vote corporate. I'm a Canadian, all right?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. You're talking. I thought you're shouting at me.
No, man.
I am just being facetious.
I know what you're like. You're a good guy.
Yeah.
But basically, Bauman knows you for a while, and
Yeah.
being a Canadian to me, it doesn't matter what you look like, Bauman, or where you came from. I don't really care.
No. What I'm saying is, let me rephrase the question the other way.
Sure.
Because one person cannot change the whole lot. They can do a lot of to make a lot of difference, but not a lot in our system. Let's say the general result of the election comes such a way that these three mainstream parties, they get 50, 60 seats each.
Okay.
And then there is a lot of independents or from members, candidates from the fringe party or small parties. Now we have a combination of no one has the whole power in hand.
Like a big coalition government, so to speak. Like no one has a majority.
No, real parliamentary system. We have 50 conservative, 100 green, 70 liberals, 60 NDP. No one can really form a government, but we have all sort of the independent candidate there. What can they do collectively?
Well, if they allow us to even speak in the House of Commons, I'm not sure if we even have the right to even ask questions. Or be
Then why are you
recognized.
running?
Because I'd like to take a seat from the corporate guys and win one for Canada. And then while I'm there, I'll spend my money and I'll travel a little bit and try to build this party. And then in 4 years, I come back, hopefully with a whole bunch of Canadians. We only need like 170 to get a majority, but we're going to try and get more than that. And besides, people might see me as a more credible person at that point, Bauman, because I've already, there's a group of people that chose me. It's almost like the fish. One fish comes and eats a bit of the thing. Next thing you know, you got a bit of a feeding
So it
frenzy going,
you believe someone like you that in your position, that we have few of them across nation with different parties, someone like you, if he or she gets elected, is a stepping stone to go and improve the party and have a more credibility.
to improve the lives of my fellow Canadians, Bauman. My
Okay.
life doesn't mean anything. It's them that I work for, not myself. I benefit with them or I go down with them. That's why I can't quit. That's the problem. I don't want to do this. Like, to deal with this ignorance out there, it's amazing.
Whose ignorance?
the publics because of the television and the media. They don't
So,
tell them about the
so
banking.
you're blaming voters partially for the mess we are in.
Well, Bauman, if I'm trying to change people's minds, then guess who's at fault? I guess I'm not good enough yet. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. You know, I have to learn the kung fu a little bit better to be able to outdo these lies. They've got a lot of money there.
Let me go one step further. 4 years from now, you got elected in 19. 4 years from now, you have established the Maple Party of Canada. What is the agenda? What is the platform?
Well, at that point, we take back Canada. We tell Canadians, don't worry about these laws that we're living under right now. You're the law in your time in Canada, not John A. Macdonald, not the Supreme Court, not Mulroney, and certainly not Harper, signing us up for a 31-year free trade agreement with China. And he asks that, or he says that we have to give 15 years notice. Hey, he might be dead by then if you vote to kill him in a referendum on the death penalty.
We are all dead.
Yeah, but in 50, no prime minister can make a law that exceeds their mandate. Not John A. Macdonald, not Mulroney, not anybody, especially not Harper.
But we are right now, Canadian citizens, for sure, at least voters, or the ones who vote,
Yes, sir.
which is only 60% or so, 50. They are placed in between the rock and hard place right now. There is no.
There's nowhere to go.
There is no where to maneuver
No,
or move. Yeah.
They're stuck. They're done. That's why I look at the old writing on laugh. I talked to some members of my party in the writing on Brant. And I sort of laughed. I wasn't rubbing it in, but I go, you guys got to know what to vote for. And I just left and I went home and I, back to my writing. I had a little meeting with them and we had a cordial, get together. And it was nice. And basically, it's true. They've got no one to vote for. No one that's going to help them.
So now, how many members Canadian Heritage for?
We are still putting.
No. How many? I mean, candidates.
Candidates.
Not members.
We are still looking to add more candidates.
Yes, but
before the
as
closing,
of
we are
now-
looking close to 27, 28.
27,
28
28
candidates, yes.
So how long is this party has been established?
It has been established about 23 years now.
23 years.
Yes. At the same time,
Yeah, the reason I brought that
Different platform.
No, I understand.
the way Christian Heritage Party looks at it is we are not trying to say we are the monopoly and we're going to do everything our way. We are saying that if you're from a
What
conservative
you were
party,
just saying me, just telling me about
No.
how to watch your baby or how to.
no, that's what we want to work with other candidates who are not even from the CHP but who are pro-life, who want to promote life. Like for example,
So you are, if there is a government, any
yes,
government,
yes,
that is completely pro-life, you're happy.
it's not about me being happy, but I'm saying
No.
that
I
we
mean
save a
you're
life.
content with the result of the
we
election.
would like
yeah.
to see pro-life. We would like to see pro-life being the norm of life, the way of life.
By the way, they just because Leslie mentioned that we have a lot of ignorance among public in general.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to the electoral process, voting,
Yes.
and politics, of course.
Yes.
And in other hand, we have over 7.2 billion people population in the planet.
Yes.
By being pro-life, aren't you adding a little bit more to that ignorance?
On the contrary, we need more like for example, like I said before, we couldn't stress more our demographics are declining. If we look at the demographics in different age groups, the working population, the retiree population, and the young population, we are not in sync right now, and that is why
We've never been in sync in the whole
we
human
need-
history.
we need to promote life. We need to make sure that the sanctity of life is promoted. Now we find, moreover, one of the most disappointments is not only the attack against the child in the womb, but the child in the world, and this new sex ed curriculum in Ontario.
I was waiting to
This-
you bring
this-
that up.
this-
I was hoping you bring
This
that
is
up.
a disgrace.
Okay.
This is an absolute disgrace.
And why is that?
And the material.
Listen, I am not. I don't have
Yes,
children.
yes.
I'm not for sex
Yes.
education, and the reason for me is not because it's sex, because
Yeah.
in generally brainwashing of people for me is a absolute no-no.
Absolutely no.
But let me put myself in a position of the opposite to you again.
Yes.
And I said, if you are claiming
Yeah.
that you are pro-life and
Yeah.
the sanctity of the unborn child has to be preserved,
Correct.
Don't you think sex ed helps for that?
If you can have some time to read through.
Oh, that's
I have read a lot.
through
Read
the sex ed.
about what?
Now
Yours
this,
or
this,
theirs?
this,
Theirs I read.
This sex ed curriculum is telling grade 1s, discussing about genitals and sexual consent, grade 1s. For grade 3s, they're talking about teach gender theory, that is boys can be girls, girls can be boys. If you're a boy, it doesn't mean you're going to be a boy. The rest, you can become a girl. For a girl, you can become. This is kind of a teaching. It's just kind of appalls me. So what is going on in Canada? In grade 6, they're encouraging masturbation. In grade 7, they're teaching about anal intercourse, oral sex, sexual pleasure. And
I read that and I agree with you because nobody taught me these things and I learned by myself.
But
I mean the whole point is, as I said, my opposition is unlike other other faithful families and other more conservative families.
Yes.
My opposition to this kind of thing is you are depriving a person from learning on his own.
You are teaching a child.
No, I'm saying that is my objection.
This kind
about
of a teaching is going to destroy the family. It's going to destroy the person, because now you're putting all these innocent hearts, innocent minds who should be learning English and geography and mathematics.
I'm pretty sure if you go to Kathleen Wynne and the government, they could I don't know, but they could argue, well, what is wrong with us teaching you how to masturbate?
Imagine in grade 8 teaching them to make a personal sexual plan. That is a part of the grade 8 curriculum.
Well, it is like a financial plan. I am being facetious. I agree with you.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do when we find...
but that is a provincial issue. First we have this one is
we see today the mental health of the youth, and the government is keeping aside $100 million only because of mental health problem with the youth. Why?
Because you have to understand the governments we have in free society, so-called, and I'm give it in the quotation, and I'm talking about G8 or G20, these free societies requires some sort of the problem in order to create jobs and create wealth for certain people. For instance, if there is no shooting, we don't need police, do we?
My question to you is this. When I get this flyer...
So if we don't have mental illness, that means we don't. They cannot funnel the money toward their cronies.
When I get a flyer in the mail, and I'm not saying that Harper is the right guy and anybody is the right.
You get a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying
flyers.
is that when I get this flyer in the mail, where they're talking about family tax cut, he's talking about family tax cut.
Okay, that is aligned with that $1,000 that you were talking about.
But that's not what we want. It's not money and dollars. What we want is our children. The children do not belong to the state. The children belong to the mom and dad. The mom and dad are going to bring up the children the way they would like to bring them up, and we don't want the state to put all this into their minds. The sexual.
I totally agree with you, and that is why earlier, just a few minutes ago, I said we as a citizens, we feel that we are stuck between the rock and hard place. Where were you born?
I was born in Mumbai, called Bombay, India.
Yes. Bombay. Yes, I've been there many times when I was in my youth.
Yes.
But do you have social insurance number?
Yes.
Okay. You know what is that social insurance number is?
Yes.
What is it?
It is my own personal identification number.
So it is. You said the children are not property of the government. But the moment you get that number, you become property.
No.
It is like a cattle. It is branding the cattle.
But at the same time, the parents have a voice. If the parents are saying, and we have had many protests of the parents saying that we don't want you to teach this, I would say, this rubbish to my child. I want my child to go to school to learn the proper things. Then what is the
Let me, because I read the answer to that question.
Yes.
Where were these people at the time of election?
Who's that?
The people that they were protesting with all of this nonsense.
You mean the governor of Ontario? Where were they?
Ontario or federal in 2011, it doesn't matter. Always there are people who are protesting of, they are doing, we don't want what you're doing, but at the time of election, they don't show up to vote.
Oh, well, yeah. Or they don't have anybody to vote for that's going to present be in the end zone to catch the pass, right? If you don't have someone to vote for that platform, then you're done as a voter. You have no recourse. You know, people have to put themselves in position to receive the votes on certain issues. And then that creates a live situation where now it's not stagnant anymore. It doesn't just have to go along the party lines. Now the public actually has a choice to change their lives. And it takes citizens to show up at election time, not just to vote.
What would be the ideal way of the electing or choosing a government from your perspective?
An ideal way?
Yeah.
Well, number one, money should be taken out of her. So during election time, what they should do.
So you want the election time to be, the election time is fine.
Well,
You know what I mean, the process of election is fine then.
Not really. I mean, it's flawed big time. I mean, even to be a candidate is not a right. To form a party is not a right in Canada. You don't have a right to be a candidate. I mean,
But Section 3 of the Charter said that.
it's completely. That's why the charter is a bunch of crap, bombing, and that's why the Supreme Court shouldn't be listened to.
Well, it is the
Because
only one.
Canadians-
It is the only one we have so far.
And it's only as good as the government you elect. So what good is that piece of paper written by guys that are dead? You know what I mean? And even Trudeau, they didn't ratify it. There's no point in even having this thing. Basically, Canadians should listen to a politician, get a feel for this guy, and hopefully don't get fooled again. And then what they can do is they can see if the platform that's presented to these people is the way that they want to live. Will that give them the way that the lifestyle that they'd like? Will that give them the freedom that they'd like? That platform, will that give them the opportunity economically that they'd like to enjoy?
My question is how, logistically, how would you envision that?
Okay, you got a couple minutes for this?
Sure,
I'll
of
try-
course.
okay.
We are
All right.
there,
Here's a fair election to me. I
we
mean,
have a
you and me both have gone through, and I'm sure you'll figure it out too soon that it's not a right of yours to, I'm sure you already know because you've qualified, right? You had to jump through the hoops.
Yes.
You have to find an official agent. So if another Canadian, basically in a nutshell, you shouldn't have to ask permission from anybody. Presently, you have to ask permission from over 100 people, including a financial professional, an accountant, to sanction your election bid. Otherwise, you can't get into the election without the accountant, without the $1,000 down
Or
payment, without
auditorium,
paying
yes,
it,
yes.
without asking 100 people for permission, and the bank account too, right? So it should be like this. You walk down to the elections office after the writ's been dropped, drop down your ID, bang, I'm a Canadian citizen. Forget about age, who cares? People vote so bad that a turnip could vote better than them and elect a better government. You know
But
what I
we
mean?
are talking about better system.
No, this is a better system.
Okay.
No age limit either. Why bother? Involve every citizen from the time they're born, like little Spartans. Learn how to run a country. Don't just sit back. Okay, I'm 18 now.
But they're teaching them sex.
Hey, I don't know. It's stupid, but whatever. I mean, basically, don't put the donut in the coffee, and then there's no baby. Okay, that's the sex lesson you need to know.
Okay.
I mean, they don't need to know. I don't know. All this other stuff is ridiculous. I don't understand
So,
why. But education is very important, though.
Okay, the first thing is you go out and you drop your ID, and they say, okay, I want to be candidate, and then they say, okay, stamp your candidate.
Okay.
What is the next step?
All right. Now, the media should present equal time for every party, every candidate in a riding. And if you present yourself as a national party, kind of like I am, I'm basically, with the exception of my wife, I'm the best party in the country right now. I'm at the one-man party. I
Okay.
mean, that's arguable, but watch the videos, and I think you'll agree. Basically, that's what it is, Bauman. So what you do is you give everybody the same chance to be seen and heard by all, and then put them up against each other. And that way, people will get to choose. Right now, by shuffling people underneath the carpet, sweeping them under the carpet ain't getting it done. It just isn't at all. We try to get into a debate so we can engage our fellow citizens. We'll answer any question. We don't care. We don't have a corporate.
12 task of Hercules.
Yeah, I've got a Canadian agenda. I don't
Or
feel
labor
the
of the
yeah.
Hercules.
The corporate guys feel the Canadians. My agenda is Canadian. I welcome questions from Canadians because I've learned to defend my platform against all the lies. And there's been a lot of money put in the way of me winning.
So
It's a barrier.
So first step is accessibility to become a candidate as easy as possible.
Yes, sir.
And secondly is equal opportunity for all media to be presented to all candidates in riding or in association.
Yep, so money doesn't even come into
Okay.
it. Just take it right out.
What is the next?
Well, you'd have to nationalize the media first for that.
No. What is next beyond the media? What is the next step? What is the next thing that you want to do for the ideal electing of the government?
Well, basically, that'll give people
An
an ample choice.
a more even
An opportunity.
even medium for
Yes,
them
sir.
to compete.
Yeah, that's right. Because now you're in the election, and now people can see you. Then the people can take over from there and run their country.
And then you cannot just flash the dollar to get more.
Yeah, well, if one guy's going to be in front of them all the time lying to them, telling them that they're improving the
So you don't
economy
have
when
the chance.
it's economic sabotage instead.
you don't
know
have
what I
a
mean?
chance to show up.
That's it. It gives you a chance.
It is. You said this is your first time you're running in federal
Federal
election,
elections,
or
yes.
you haven't run in the provincial one either.
No.
Okay. You said the party is almost 23 years, and your mandate is not really make a government in a sense, but
Yes.
you are focusing on the issues
Yes.
that you believe in to be implemented by any government that comes to the power,
That's
or
right.
at least pursue. I don't want to use the word force, but pursue them to follow your
To
mandate,
follow the mandate, yes.
I want to shift a little bit to the second item that you
Yes.
created, which was
Yes.
euthanasia.
Yes.
Okay, child, I can understand the hype, but let's say I am 57 years old man,
Yes.
and quite honestly, I do not see life the way that I used to see it right now.
Yes.
I am telling you the truth,
Yes, of course.
and I'm contemplating to kill myself,
Yes.
and but I don't have the courage to do that.
Okay.
I want to go and stab myself, but I say it's painful.
Yeah,
If
not
I
good.
want to jump the bridge, I said I'm scared of the height.
Yeah.
I go to Dr. Bory
Yeah.
and I ask him, Dr. Bory, I consider myself not overly intelligent, but I don't consider myself dumb.
Okay.
And since I do not have any attachment in life, and I am tired of that, and I want you just shove one of those needles in my vein, one of my veins, after
Yeah.
having a good meal, of course,
Yeah.
like the people who are sentenced to death. And what is wrong between this contract between? I am adult now.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that your belief system is you want to be a spokesman on behalf of an adult too?
No, the belief system is not to force on anybody our views or ideas, but the belief system is to the sanctity of human life. The human life is to be preserved from conception, from the time it's in the womb of the mom, not from the time the baby is born, but from the time a woman conceives a child. That is a human life till natural death.
Okay,
And
the first part we discussed,
We
we
discussed.
understand. But
And
what I'm
then-
saying, I use myself as an
Yes.
example.
Yes.
Do you consider in last 45 minutes that you sat with me?
Yes.
Do you consider me to be a kind of the person to be unreasonable?
Yes.
You
absolutely.
consider me
I would consider
unreasonable?
unreasonable because again, if somebody says I want to take off my life,
Yeah.
then that person needs help. That person needs counseling. We need to
Based
spend
on
time.
whose criteria?
We need to spend some time, understand the person. Why are you saying that? What is your true need? There's always
Do you have 3 years to sit with me and I tell you my story?
we have to have an infrastructure.
No,
for
no.
that.
By the
Yes.
way, again, don't
Yes.
get me that I am challenging you because, and the reason I'm challenging you not because I am challenging you,
Yes.
but when you go knock on doors, if you campaign,
Yeah.
and people listen to you,
Yeah.
especially in Canada,
Yeah.
people are culturally very polite.
Yes.
A lot of things is going on in their mind.
Correct.
They don't say. In
Yes.
this show, I say that.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I am voicing out the
Yeah.
conscience of those who keep it inside.
Yes.
Now, as an adult, what gives you the right to tell me the sanctity of my life
Yeah.
is being better preserved by you?
It is love. That the answer is love.
Maybe I don't believe in
because
love.
I love the person. Because I love the person.
No,
I will
I understand that.
Yes.
Why, I mean, you don't know me.
Yes.
And that is why I use myself an example.
Yes.
You don't know Dr. Bory.
Yes.
Dr. Bory is sitting in his office,
Yeah.
minding his own business,
Yes.
shuffling his syringes,
Yeah.
waiting for me to go there.
Yes.
And he's not making any profit out of that.
Yes.
He just say, it is between the patient and the doctor, and I know you are reasonable, and I know you don't believe in love, and I know you don't believe in God. Therefore, I agree. here, I put the needle in your butt. But what I'm asking from you is, you are sitting in Scarborough. What gives you the right to tell that I cannot do it with Dr. Bory?
First of all, Dr. Bory, who is in his office, should not be forced to give you the needle.
No, it's not forced.
Now, legislation is coming up where the doctors don't have the freedom of conscience. So if a doctor...
Don't get me wrong,
right?
Jude, I'm not talking about law.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about law. Forget about law. We have laws from our yin and yang going on, and many of even the law people, they don't know that. I'm not talking about law. I'm talking about the human understanding. Why you, a gentleman, nice man from Bombay, lives in Scarborough, wants to make a decision on the life of Bahman, who was born in Iran, who live in Toronto, and wants to deal with Dr. Bory all the way 3 hours from here. And by the way, thank you for driving over here.
No problem.
I am asking from perspective of human being.
From the human point of view.
Why you give that right to yourself?
Because every human life is precious and should be preserved. So my undertaking would be, if somebody says, I don't want to live anymore, I've had it, or like you said, I've had this, then let's talk it out. What is the real issue that's causing you to come to that decision?
My real issue is why I don't have $2 million. How can you resolve it?
The first thing we got to remember, there's a difference between a man, when I say man, I mean man, woman, children,
mankind,
human, and any other creature. And the main difference between them and any other creature is man was made in the image of God. And so we have a body.
That is the point I wanted to make.
We have a body and we have a soul.
Okay, that is the point I wanted to touch on that. I am glad that you brought it up. I was expecting you bring it up on the abortion, but you brought it up now. You are a Christian. Your belief system could completely contradict my belief system. And although Christians claim that they have Jesus Christ and they're either Catholic, Protestant, I'm not going to, I don't even debate religion.
Right.
But if I am, by the way, agnostic. By the way, announced on the TV, I don't belong to any faith, any religion, and I do not believe. However, I believe religion is necessary for people who want it or who need it or whatever. Now, if I am agnostic and I don't follow your path, how you can bring that? It is the same thing that our government does that every day to our daily routine affairs.
It's like having the Taliban in charge.
I'm not talking about law. I'm talking about from perspective. I understand the child that you could argue. Child is not. Is not developed the cognitive understanding of the life. But I am 57 years old man. And believe it or not, I have been around the block a few times. I decide today, go to Dr. Bory, and I ask him, shove that syringe in my vein. What gives you the right? Is it your faith? Or is it the control?
It is the love. It is the
You
love.
really love me that much?
That is love. That is the answer I would tell you. That love. You see, love.
I'm flattered.
Love is beyond what I can see and
my
touch.
Parents didn't love me that much.
That is what it is, and that is what is love.
Nice.
And whatever we are doing in this party, we are going out today. Today, I'm standing up for elections today. It's not because of anything. It's only because of that answers.
I prefer our candidate be more like you. Than the ones that we have seen it. Believe me. At least you have emotion, you have compassion. They don't. Come back to you. How faithful you are, by the way?
Faithful to what, my wife? Or to
No. Do you have any following any faith, particular faith?
I've got some weird things going on in my life, Bob, that I can't explain.
No,
but,
I'm not asking you to explain, but are you going like a regular...
attendance at church?
Attending to
no, nothing like that at all.
Are you in general, do you have a title of any religion?
No, when I was a kid, they sent me to Catholic school for a while, but as soon as I got a chance to escape, I went to public high school.
Okay.
And I just didn't want to be in a Catholic system anymore. I got nothing against them. I got good friends that are
No,
Catholic.
I understand that. What I'm saying, I
yeah.
just ask you to know the balance of the discussion.
Oh, well.
That is why I ask.
Oh, I just maybe I'm a humanist, Bauman. I don't know. I don't subscribe to any religion.
Okay.
I don't favor one over another at all. You know,
Like me, I'm an
yeah. There's good points and really bad points to a lot of them.
that is the human nature.
Yeah.
Now, we in last few minutes left at the end of, you see the time so fly,
Time
so
does
those
go
book
by,
doesn't,
yes.
doesn't help.
Yes.
Let me ask, have you started campaigning?
Yes, I have.
What do you hear at doors?
Well, I haven't been to a whole lot of doors, Bauman. I've been
Yeah, a
making
few,
signs, you know, I've been
yeah.
trying to do it all myself. But basically, people are glad that I'm trying. And I've got reactions in the supermarket after my picture came out in the paper. Like some lady looked at me funny at the supermarket, like a person I knew. They seemed a little
Like
bit
a celebrity, or
Yeah, like a little extra- yeah, a little extra enthusiasm.
like a pedophile.
they really want, and when they hear what the platform is putting them in charge of Canada, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of things out there that have been said about the economy.
Do
And
they
they're-
say anything with the beard? Because we live in a very stereotype kind of environment.
Yeah. Well, where I come from down there, basically, it's not so much I look like a Muslim. I look more like a hillbilly maybe to them. So maybe like a
I think
relative
you
or
are
something.
more
eh?
distinguished. If I grow beard, you will see. They arrest me at no time.
Yeah. But the people are really positive. I had people that like helped us with the signatures, and people that one lady wanted a lawn sign. I mean, it's rare for an
No,
independent to have the
in your
support.
discussion, if you talk to them, do they tell you what their concerns are?
I ask them sometimes. Other times they ask me what I have planned, like
Yeah.
what the platform is.
Which is very odd, because they're the one who vote. They are asking you what you offer.
The reason is, though, Obama, because I'm not on TV. Otherwise, they'd know I'm not worth voting for, right? But now they don't know this. They want to see, and when I tell them it's a positive message, but I tell them specifically. I don't just throw out slogans to the people. I tell them specifically what I want to do for them, and they appreciate that. You know what I mean? And it's amazing, the response. Now, this is the first time since Von Bauman where I'm fooling myself into thinking maybe we can win, but I'm acting like we can, because I think we may be able to.
If you don't have hope, then why we are doing it?
Sometimes I wonder, Bauman, I just can't stop fighting, that's all. You know what I mean? The bully's beating us up, and I can't stop kicking him in the head.
You see,
that's why I got to show up every time to kick his ass.
The spirit,
For my people and
the
for myself.
reasoning, the spirit of you see, I respect any man and or woman who put his or her name on the ballot. And you see at the end of my program, always I emphasize, become a candidate. Because then you will see what it takes, what it takes to become a candidate, and you show your devotion, that you are willing to put your life on hold for a month or two, in this case 3 months probably.
Well, with this platform, I'm going against some of the greasiest people in this world. Some of the biggest.
Greasiest, who is that?
The murdering types, eh? Well, the corporate types that'll murder you, you know what I mean? And, it's what it is, though. You can't live forever, Bauman, until someone puts themselves in like a good position to do some good for them, and to maybe give people a little bit of chance to get some payback against the guys who've been stealing from us. No point letting them get away with it. This isn't all left-wing platform. We got a right wing. I'm like the wingman to the right wing. I'll take the right wing down.
Why should we have the wing at all?
Exactly. That's right. That's what they asked in the paper. I said, well, they said, what's your philosophy? I says, well, I know what you're going to ask me. I says, you can't pigeonhole our platform, because if you choose one philosophy over the other, eventually you'll create inadequate and
prejudice,
bad legislation,
complete
inappropriate
prejudice,
legislation will get created.
If you remember in our debate on the 15th of March, 2012, they asked every one of us, why do you do that? Because if you're, I said, I want to go in front of mirror. I said, I'm happy with you. That's all.
Yeah, I did something on your deathbed, eh, Bauman? On the deathbed, what did you do to help your country?
Nothing. No, forget about country. What do you do for yourself?
Well, it's all one and the same at this point,
Yes.
because everything's going down, and when the Titanic goes down, it doesn't matter if you're the captain or the steward, you're going down with it.
Yeah, of course.
So we got to do something. Start bailing or start welding a hole.
Do you campaign?
Yes.
Have you started?
I've started my campaign.
And what do you hear at the doors?
Well, the people, they were disappointed with Harper, because he promised in the 2005-2006 campaign to defend the traditional marriage. between one man and one woman. That promise was broken because he merely asked the MP.
Do you really hear that from people
Yes.
to tell you that?
Yes. And that is why the people
So
were,
if I know you knock to the door and say I am Jude and I am candidate for the Scarborough-Guildwood and I am running based on the platform of the Christian Heritage Party, and these are more basic platforms: sanctity of life, stopping the euthanasia, stopping the abortion, and this kind of things.
Yes.
And then the person that opens the door
Yeah.
talks about the marriage.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes, yes. They are
very
concerned. They are
interesting.
concerned because it was something that was just pushed on the Canadians. It was it just was pushed to them.
And don't get me wrong, because when I
yes.
was knocking on the door, they get out.
But that's fine. I mean, you will get.
No,
But
I mean,
that
I never had
that sense of being kind of let down is coming very strongly, and so many of the candidates are saying if we didn't have a candidate who would stand for these issues, probably we will not go out on voting day because we don't know what to do now.
You're kind of the
As well.
person I believe that you're well established in your community.
Well, basically I'm a catechist.
No, I
right?
know, but I mean, you have your
I have a big.
you have your
yes,
base.
I have my
You
base.
have-
I have
okay.
my base.
So I am pretty sure
so-
you get a lot of vote out of that base.
Out of
How are we doing, Chris, on the time? Okay, we are getting to the end of the 2 or 3 minutes left. I give usually at the end of the program a minute, says 30 to 60 seconds to the candidates if they like to.
Yes.
Look at the camera and they talk just 1 minute, not more than, because we are close to the end. At the beginning is easy, but at the end, assume that you are talking to your constituents.
Okay.
In 1 minute, your elevator speech, what it is.
Right.
So we start with you because last time
Want me to start?
Start.
All right.
Just for 1 minute, just talk to your constituents. That one is yours.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hey, Alderman Norfolk. I think that you should vote for me if you want to live a full-service economy with no basic taxation. And if you want to do the big things that'll make your life better, we'll simplify the method to achieve these goals. And you can vote for me. And in the future, you'll be voting for the Maple Party of Canada, hopefully. I can't promise the future. But I can promise that I'll try my best to be your best representative you've ever heard of. Because I'm going to bring forward all the issues that those guys won't talk about, and the media won't talk about, namely banking. And basically, don't think of it as banking, a safe place to put your money. Think of it as money creation. They print money. You don't want to borrow from the Dairy Queen for national debt and then have to pay them back and enter into an impossible agreement with them where there's more debt than money. It's simply impossible for Canadians to pay it back. And this party, the party that we're trying to form here, we're going to advocate using legislation to get rid of the debt the same way that we got it in 1974 when we stopped borrowing from the Bank of Canada. We'll use legislation. Legislation giveth, legislation taketh away, my friends. The corporations do it, and I've learned a lesson from the corporations. They create laws how and when they need them to be, and as they're convenient for them, and they create money in the same manner. They print it whenever they need it. Ladies and gentlemen, life can be a lot simpler. Just do it the way the corporations do, show up for the election, and have your way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Jude Coutinho, and I'm standing at Scarborough Agent Court. And if you share my belief, if you share my ideas, if you believe in what I was saying, then I would request you to volunteer. Like you could volunteer to distribute these flyers. Some of the issues that we are looking at as a Christian Heritage Party, you could look it up on the website, www.chp.ca. If you want to see the horrors of abortion, look it up as, on the website, as well as many websites are there, seethetruth.ca. But basically what you can expect is a pro-life candidate. I would definitely oppose with my whole heart the sex ed curriculum, which is forced on the parents. Definitely that's going to be my biggest battle against. Oppose the bill for common washrooms for men and women. With the transgender thing happening now, we don't know whether this should go in a man's washroom or a woman's washroom, and the bill coming up to say that men and women can go in the one washroom. This is a huge, big dissatisfier, big no. Again, oppose the legalization of drug sales for teenagers, young adults. Protect freedom of speech and religion. Reduce government waste and demand greater public accountability. Eliminate deficit spending and paying down the debt. Create jobs through infrastructure renewal. Utilize the Bank of Canada to reduce dependence on the chartered banks, provide compassionate care for the elderly and the disabled, promote and defend traditional marriage between one man and one woman. Again, as I mentioned before, $1,000 a month to assist in the care of children and elderly in the home, establish conscience legislation and life-affirming guidelines for healthcare workers and doctors.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I hope your constituents, for both of your writings, tune in. We don't have much of a high audience in the live. However, the copies of this show will be available within 2 or 3 days on YouTube, so you can I will send you the link, and then you can send it to all of your friends. First of all, thank you for coming, for both of you.
Yes, Paul.
And it is very, very interesting conversation, and the kind of the conversation that I like to be much longer.
Yes.
But because you're limited and probably our other guest is outside. Thank you for the ladies and gentlemen for tuning in for this show for 22nd of September 2015. Remember to take part in your electoral process, which I believe is the only thing left of democracy as we know it. Become a volunteer, as Jude said, donate, vote, as Leslie said, and more importantly, you yourself become a candidate. Good night.